I'm here with Josh, Epsilon Josh. You've just watched CM there take the map. They've got a really fearsome online reputation. Do you think they've lived up to that?
They was a bit shaky first map. They started off really slow, like most of their first experience on the main stage, so I think it's fair enough. But they destroyed them on the S&Ds, like Bossy said, numerous amounts of times. They actually destroyed them 6-0, and then the blitz was pretty straightforward. They played it really well.
Yeah, the first half they were 10-1 up, and it basically just carried it over from there. So we'll talk about your team going into the event. Your number one seed. Do you feel that's justified?
I think it's fair to say we won Ice Series, and then obviously TCM did win regionals, but there's been a few changes since then. So us getting first seed, obviously winning Ice Series and dominating online, winning the 2Ks, etc., is fair enough. Fair.
Yeah. So talking about like TCM and yourselves, there seems to be a bit of a rivalry building up between the two teams. Like I said, you topped them at Ice Series. You got the same placement at Champs. They beat you at regionals. How do you see that playing out for like the rest of the Ghosts title?
Well, I'd like to think we'd come out on top most of the time, but it's all like friendly. Like we all get along at our game, and then but when we get into game, obviously we all want to beat each other. So it's pretty friendly. Like we all get along, speak all the time. Like she's a really good friend of mine, lives really close to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we play whenever it comes into game, like everything's disregarded, and we just go at it.
Yeah. So what do you think about the PT addition to the team? Obviously the change from Flux moving on.
Well, a lot of people have asked this, like Flux at Ice Series, the recent Ice Series, like I think most people said he's like one of the best he's played. Like at any of his events, he played so good at Ice Series, and then for him to step down, like such a big loss for TCM. Like he literally, I don't think if he wasn't playing at Ice Series, they wouldn't have got to the final. Like with some of the clutches he played, some of the plays he made. But yeah, like it's really, Pete's a really good player. It's his first time in like a huge team. He's obviously been in Fuse, etc., and Aware for a while. But yeah, it's interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, how would you compare the two styles of gameplay? Like Flux is known for being a bit unorthodox, whereas Pete is known for being quite almost reckless. Like, how do you think they're going to mesh with that new team?
I think after a while they get used to it, but like as it said, Flux used like everyone knows he's like a full objective player, lost to like just go for the main objectives and like not a really killer. Where Pete likes slaying a fair bit, so obviously Pete's obviously going to have to adapt, or TCM are going to have to change the way they play to adapt to Pete's play style.
Okay, yeah. So you're coming in here. You've won this event twice in a row now. The first time at Sheffield, then you won it in London at Trocadero. So, how do you think you'll be able to do? Do you think you'll be able to make the three-peat? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm confident.
Right.
Like second, obviously won the last two, won the last Ice Series, so coming in expecting to win. Like the team's been playing really well. We've been grinding, and we know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, like you're obviously coming quite like heavily tipped. How have you been finding the event generally so far, like your opposition and stuff like that, and even just the venue and things like that?
The venue's pretty good. It's not as big as last time, but it's fine. Like there's a lot of stations. There's no big delays. So we actually played a lot more games than expected.
Yeah.
We've won both games 2-0 pretty comfortably. It's been pretty well. Looking forward to pushing on and going to tomorrow, Championship Sunday.
Okay. So further to talk about the TCM Epsilon thing, there was rumours that when the choice came to join Epsilon, you actually also had the option to join TCM at the same time. So what was it that made you choose Epsilon over TCM?
When I have situations like that, I always just weigh up both sides, like just what team I think would last more longer, which team I think would do better, and Epsilon was just a better option in more or less every single aspect. Like I get along with everyone. I team with Tommy before I joined for 3 events and won every single one. So there's no way I could turn the offer down. Like it's such a big name, and just getting out there and just being back at the top was the best thing.
Talking about winning every event, you're if you look at your EGL placement since EGL7, I've got them here. You finished second at 8, first. Is that right? Yeah. No, sorry, second at 7, first at 8. Second at 9, first at 10, first at 11. So in the last 5 EGLs, you haven't placed outside the top 2. Do you think you'll be able to continue that run this weekend?
Oh, definitely. I'm not placing out of top 2 in any circumstances, and if it means unless I can't play, then I'm not coming out of top 2. EGL's like my home for that. I just don't come out of top 2. I don't know why, but yeah. So I'm looking to get the 3rd win, and if I can get the 3rd, that'd be amazing.
Outside of those top 2, like yourself and TCM, who are the top 2 seeds, what kind of teams do you see doing damage? You've got Infused, who's sitting at 6th seed. You've got a couple of Rain, who had a good run at I-Series.
Well, to be fair, they've got CM who just played on the main stage, and they showed when they're playing well, they can keep up and replicate their online performance. They played really poor. Be interesting to see how they match up against some of the top, better teams. Obviously, that safe team were a decent French team, but not like up the top with most top teams like Infuse or TCM. You've got Denial, who are really good. They can have a really good event, or they can have a really bad event. So if they can perform, they can get a real high placement. And obviously, you've got Infused. There's teams like Orbit as well. There's a lot of teams like, although there's like most people expect it to be a TCM Epsilon final. I reckon there'll be an upset. Like, it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
I mentioned Infuse there. One interesting matchup for me will be Infuse TCM with the old PE leaving Infuse to join TCM. There seems to be a bit of animosity between maybe not just like the whole team, but particularly PE and Watson. There seems to be some kind of anger there. Do you see that affecting the team? Will that change things when you come to play each other?
I just think it'll be more that Watson will really want to beat TCM even more, because Watson, like, he just doesn't seem very happy that Pete. I think it's the way he done it more or less. Like there was a few things which didn't happen, like he didn't tell his team or something like that. But I'm not going to that. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd love to watch that game. It'd be a very interesting game to say the least.
Is there any other matchups you can see that would be really interesting? There's quite a few like interesting storylines at this EGL. Another one, like, for instance, let's say your teammate's one. He's never won an EGL.
Yeah, Swan has never won an EGL.
Yeah.
Don't know how. Pretty shocking record.
It's weird, isn't it? Someone that good and manages not to win an event. Any other storylines you can see being interesting at all?
I'd like to see the Niall versus View, which is Lexity, Necrom, and that the Scousers to go up against each other. That'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah. What about the TCM CM lineup or matchup we've potentially got coming up as well?
Yeah, as long as teams don't fail, then it'll be a good matchup. I think TCM would win it just for the fact they've got the experience, and I can see them would get a bit nervous. They're all young kids, but if they get going, who knows? It's cool. You can't really say.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I think we're going to be cutting to a short break and then straight over to the casters.